Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast, episode 194, I think. Today, we're joined by my man Salem, who I've seen doing some great things on Twitter and Instagram, who sold 80,000 past 30 days on Amazon and Walmart. So we're going to dig in selling on Walmart again today, and he's done all of that part-time. So pretty awesome stuff. We're going to be able to dig into becoming a successful seller part-time and taking advantage of both the power of selling on Amazon and selling on Walmart as well. If you guys haven't checked out Boxem yet, you can get a 2-week free trial of Boxem on our website, boxem.com, for all your listing, shipment, and analytics needs. So make sure you guys check out that. And good to have you here, Salem.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
What's up, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good to have you here, man. So I've been following you on social media for a little while, and we see you're doing some good stuff, on multiple platforms, right? So Amazon and Walmart. How'd this stuff all get started, though? Because you're a very successful part-time seller. The majority of our audience is between 25 and 44, getting started part-time, while working a full-time job with aspirations of similar e-commerce success to the way you've had it, man. So how'd this all get started?
Yeah, absolutely. So I graduated college in 2018 and immediately took a job, corporate job, and worked my way up very quick, which made me realize that it was not what I wanted. So I actually started getting into flipping Supreme and sneakers and botting. And long story short, the Discord group that I was in, the owner left the Discord to pursue Amazon. And he's like, hey, you should, follow me. I'll teach you everything. So I took his word for it. He gave me a lead. And after I got that lead and saw the potential, I started to kind of pivot, and my eyes really started to open up with the whole thing.
What was that first product? You remember?
Yeah, I do actually. It was a Spring Valley multi-probiotic vitamin from Walmart. And I was
word for word, he knows it.
yeah, I was having my parents actually, they live 2 hours away from me. So I was shipping it to them. They were prepping it for me. I was doing it. My sister in Texas was doing it. And that's when I really started to see the potential, in reselling.
Yeah, I love those Walmart private label brands for people who are brand new, because the key, you know exactly where it comes from, right? There's a couple big ones, right? Equate, Spring Valley, is vitamins, right?
Great value.
Yeah, great value for grocery, right? Time and True, Athletic Works, No Boundaries, I think, is one. Honestly, just go and plug in on ChatGPT, right? What brands does Walmart own that sell well on Amazon? It's going to spit out like those and some others.
Like every
right
retail
there.
site has those same brands, right? Home Depot has Hamilton Beach, and I mean, so many.
Costco has a ton of them too. Target has Goodfellow. Sam's Club has a bunch. And the cool thing is, right? You know exactly where that stuff comes from, right?
100%.
And then there's going to be a specific tip or trick to make those products good. Walmart, for example, little pod exclusive, right? It's tax exempt and it's discounted gift cards. Ain't no coupon codes. There's not really any fancy sales. Maybe, from time to time. Fruit of the Loom, I don't think is specifically Walmart PL, but a lot of that stuff can be profitable there. So you know where that inventory's come from. So it's nice and simple from there. And then when were those first Amazon sales?
So this was actually October of 22. So about 2.5 years I've been on there.
Boom. Okay, cool. And you work full-time as a sales professional, right?
Yeah, so back to it. So I got onto Walmart a year and a half, and that same friend who put me on Amazon also put me onto Walmart. And at that time, I kind of, said, you know what, this job is a little too much for me. I'm going to do my own thing. So I did my own thing for a couple months, and my business at that time was not where it was today. I just wasn't in the right mental headspace, but I did pursue a job with B2B sales where I sell IT, things like that. And, I do really good at it, and it also provides me a good work-life balance. So I pretty much put 199% into my business, but I do well at work as well. So me being young right now, I'm just trying to milk what I can, grow my business to eventually leave it. But right now I have everything, pretty systematic, luckily.
Yeah, Garrett and I talk about it from time to time. Is like there's great 9-to-5 situations that provide you like the flexibility and even not necessarily the time, although some definitely time, but just like the headspace, right? Like, when you're doing, the Amazon business full time or any online business full time, there's always stuff you can do. So it can sometimes consume up your mind to the point where, like, if you're doing it full time, you wouldn't really have the available headspace for other things. But the cool thing about, some of these 9-to-5s, for example, is from what it sounds like, talking to a couple of guys like Nick Spizak's another one of our buddies that has a really good situation, Peter.
Yep.
exactly, right? Is you have available headspace where you can really go build some phenomenal skills on the side and not necessarily need to rely on it to make money today, right? Which is a very, very powerful thing to be able to do something that you know has really good long-term potential and not need to immediately make money from it. I think that's the same thing's true for like social media as well too and all that, but it's pretty cool. So break down the time management, right? Because I'm sure some people are listening to this here and okay, my man's got a good 9 to 5, right? He's doing great on Amazon. He's also doing great on Walmart. But how do you actually manage that? Because that's one of the main objections to people being able to set something up like that, and rightfully so.
Absolutely. So the biggest challenge for me, it took a lot of time, was finding the right virtual assistants and also delegating the right tasks to them. I was always the person that thought it was kind of a let me hire them and all my problems are solved, right? So once I kind of realized what I needed to implement and how to implement it for both Walmart and Amazon, I basically start off my morning every day at 5 a.m. I live right by Lifetime Fitness, so I walk over there, get a workout in. I'll come back, look at some leads, fill it out on the prep sheet, order to my house if I need to, head to work at 8 o'clock, look over some stuff, do some more buying. When I get home, I'll package up all my FBM because I do WFS, FBA, and FBM. So I do everything, retail, arbitrage, online, wholesale, whatever gives me money. I'll come home, prep all my stuff, drop it off, shower, and then I'll just be, doing coaching calls, listening to your guys' podcast, absorbing the content. And, I am very social, but I've made so many friends on Instagram and Twitter that, I speak to all of them. So that's kind of like my social time. And I just like to grind and keep my head down. That's
So you're in the office every day?
Monday through Friday. I am in the office. I did tell my manager that I was on podcast today, so that I would.
Hey, shout out the manager there,
Yeah,
vibes.
yeah.
Okay, cool, very good.
So yeah.
Damn, that's cool. Okay, I did not expect you to say it. I expected you to say like it was awesome, like work from home situation. So
Right.
you're
You got
doing
that
the impossible
five
by some
gym.
people's standards, exactly.
It's yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
I just wanted to say, just so people know the grind, right? I'm on the third floor of an apartment complex. All of my packages are getting delivered at the bottom of my stairs at about 11:30 every day the last 2 weeks. So I was leaving work, going up and down the stairs five, ten
Oh my.
times, going
So
back
you
to
you're
work.
just you're slicing and dicing every single objection out there.
That literally completely
Wake it,
true as well.
lifting and training, and we'll get into obviously your fitness journey. Lifting and training every day, picking up packages, RA, OA, work, in the office, like every single thing, right? So you talk about reviewing your leads in the morning. What's like your ideal lead? What's your ideal product? What's something that you're actually specifically looking for when you open those leads every morning?
So that's the thing. I'm not really niche down right now when it comes to Amazon. I am niche down to Walmart with a few categories, but the biggest thing I look for is, who's WFSing versus who's not WFSing. And if no one is WFSing, then the question you got to ask yourself is, can I WFS this item? Because not every single item is WFS eligible, although 99% of them are. It's just very important to make sure that that is. Now, if you are able to WFS it, you could really go into a listing and take it over, similar to Amazon FBA. But the upside of doing it on Walmart is that there's less competition. So
Right.
offer count is lower, profits higher. It's overall a win-win.
Yeah,
And so
are
you
you
what's your breakdown of sales, Amazon to Walmart?
So on Amazon, the last 12 months, I just hit $320,000, and on Walmart, as of today, I checked, I just hit $220,000. So a little under 600,000 for the year.
Yeah, okay. And say, the cool thing is you're doing a lot of it yourself, so the profit's probably pretty high on that because you're lacking a lot of the expenses. And I like super agree with that, as a young male, right? Having that available time and energy to go ahead and do that and really, really lock in some good cash to give yourself, whether it's cushion for the future, other investments, etc. I think that's a phenomenal thing. I think a lot more, young guys should be taking advantage of and everything too, which is pretty cool and everything. So no prep center, you're prepping everything yourself.
So I do have a prep center. If I didn't mention that, I do have a prep center that I use just for WFS. I did go through a Section 3 about a month ago, and I went through one last year that I beat, luckily. So I am getting back in the groove of Amazon. I do want to use a separate PL for that, though, just to keep everything kind of separate.
Boom. Okay, makes sense. Cool. And are you cross-listing a lot of FBM inventory on both platforms?
So that's a good question. I don't typically do too much FBM on Walmart, although I am doing it right now, obviously, because it is Q4. And then with Amazon, anything that fits in like an 8.5 by 11, bubble mailer or a poly bag, I'll FBM if I can.
See, he knows what's up.
That's
Yeah, I
so
know.
true. And the reasoning on that, guys, is because the shipping's a lot cheaper. Typically, I assume thinking under 1 pound as well, too. Exactly, right?
It's
So,
quicker, more efficient. You don't
yeah,
have to
you test
fit a
lighter,
product to a box.
no
It's
taping involved as well.
yeah, oh
And that's the
yeah,
kind of stuff you only really see once you're really in it, right? But the breakdown of that, guys, basically is if an item's above 1 pound, or sorry, below 1 pound, but above $20, make sure you plug in the FBM calculator on Salem. You just scroll down and toggle to
yep.
FBM on the profit calculator tab, and you'll see that typically the profit's actually higher for FBM compared to FBA, and you're gonna miss a lot of leads if you're not taking advantage of that, because you guys will see items where it's like, a 26% ROI FBA, but then if you scroll down and toggle over to
38,
FBM,
35%
exactly,
ROI.
right? And
Yeah.
those are items that are hidden that you're gonna miss if you're not using the FBM calculator right there, which is an interesting breakdown. Okay, so we broke down platform wise, right? So on that, let's also breakdown of Amazon FBA, Amazon FBM, Walmart FBM, Walmart FBA. Because I expected you to say more cross listing, which I thought was interesting that you're not doing. And then after that, we got to dig on, okay, how do you source for each?
Yeah. So with Walmart, to be completely honest, the best thing I say and people get annoyed is that you got to do your test buys. And also you got to go wider with Walmart, right? I don't go nearly as deep as I do with Amazon. Now the volume is there with Walmart, but obviously Amazon's king at the moment, right? So I might not buy 100 units of X for Walmart, although I would buy 100 for Amazon. So the goal for me is that I always try to find things that I could replan, whether that's on Target.com, whether that's on Macy's, whatever it is. And, I'll make, an Excel sheet, and ideally you'd want to buy 5 to 10 units, send it in. If it sells, buy it again and do that, 2 to 5 times. I see so many people that buy something, sell out of it, and they don't even go back to source it. They don't even
Right.
go to see if the coupon, like it just blows my mind. So that's one thing with Walmart that I'm starting to see is that just taking those Walmart IDs or ASINs and just keeping track of it and just replanning them.
So is every product, do you look at it from the lens of Amazon and Walmart?
So that's another thing. I look at them as completely different business models. I look at them as two completely different catalogs, and that's something that has really helped me. A lot of people say, hey, I got section third, or hey, I want to liquidate. Yes, obviously you could liquidate on Walmart, of course. But if you look at it with a different lens of, okay, Walmart has this kind of clientele, Amazon has this clientele, and you kind of break it down like that, you could really run two completely different businesses, in my opinion, especially if you do niche down.
Yeah,
And
and
so,
break down what that actually looks like
mhm.
too. Like on the clientele side of things, like what items do people typically buy on Walmart? What items do you typically buy on Amazon in a very generalized manner, obviously speaking.
Yeah, I mean, with Walmart, I do see like a lot of toys, a lot of health and beauty, a lot of clothing. With Amazon, it's a lot of like gadgets and gadgets, like for your car, just stuff that you would think of like, oh, I need this, right? Um, and the thing with Walmart is a lot of people don't realize is their Walmart Plus membership is kind of similar to Amazon Prime in terms of all the benefits that they offer. They offer, same day delivery if you're ordering
Sorry, I mean,
groceries.
sometimes even better than Amazon. Sometimes it'll be at your house in a couple hours, like a single grocery item or
The OA
something.
products, I've had some toy OA stuff like that, and ended up moving it so quick to FDM because of it.
Well, if you think about it, if you're a mom, and you're ordering food for the
Right.
family and your kid's like, I want this toy, you're gonna throw a toy in there. You might throw in, a Summer Friday lip balm. Like that's what goes through my mind. It's not necessarily people are going on Walmart to buy just your product. They're probably carting, a whole variety of things, right? So that's kind of how I like to look at it.
And it's
Okay.
really like anything you associate with Walmart, right?
Mhm.
Razors, like deodorant, beauty. You walk into Walmart, those sorts of items people anticipate seeing on Walmart.com. However, there's no Amazon to walk into, so it's like there's not that same association. So, to your point, well, you would probably agree that the Nikes and the Adidases and stuff probably haven't necessarily caught up on the Walmart side of things as opposed to Amazon.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I have seen some bestseller badges on some Nike socks here recently. I'm assuming that's due to Q4, but I can see that becoming a thing on the
At,
platform.
at some point, yeah.
The one thing I'll say is, I went to the Walmart seller conference this summer, and the thing about Walmart is like they genuinely care about your success. The loan rates that they give you are absolutely absurd. The shipping is so cheap. I mean, it just blows my mind, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's sounds good to hear as well too. And so you brought up the bestseller badge, right? Breakdown, I'm sure review count matters too. How are you actually telling the sales history on a specific item, right? Because I know bestseller badge is important. Probably just how it ranks on search as well too when you search a niche, review count, you know?
Yeah, so verified review is one thing that I look at with a grain of salt, though, me personally, just because I've ordered millions of things and I can't tell you one time I've left a review, just to be straight up with you.
Same, completely
So,
same. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so it's kind of like one of those things where, yes, I'll look at it, but even things that don't have reviews, or I'm gonna buy. But in terms of badges that are important, there's a bestseller badge that is like a light blue color. And from my understanding, that's gonna turn on when that listing sells a certain amount of times. I don't know what it is,
Right.
but that's gonna flick on. And then you also see the 1,000 plus in cart or 100 in cart, and then you see 100 bought since yesterday. So if you have a mixture of all three of those, it's a pretty good indication that that item's going to move, right?
Right.
Uh, Now, on the flip side of that, if there isn't all of that data, then yes, you want to look at the reviews. You might want to look at Amazon to see what the sales rank is, but once again, keep that with a grain of salt. So I just like to hit little tiny points and then go with my gut, obviously, at the end of the day.
But you're not buying with as much conviction as you potentially would with Amazon without that previous empirical data for yourself.
Yeah, so when I started scaling on Walmart, the biggest thing for me with Amazon as well, what was holding me back is the amount of spend I was doing. I was always
Right.
positive cash flow, and once I kind of trusted myself more and was more confident with my abilities, now I'm kind of just like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna buy 20 of these, 15 of these, and 80% of the time it works out for me. But to my point, it's kind of just shooting in the dark just with the limited data that there is at this time, which is a big benefit though that people don't see.
Okay, yeah, and so how would you say, like going into 2025, you view the upside on each platform from your personal perspective? Because you have some of the best context of anyone having heavy experience on both platforms, you know?
Yeah, so with Amazon, obviously they're getting more strict. I've always played clean on both platforms. I buy from, the OA sites that we all know. I buy from legitimate, wholesalers. So my plan is to pivot with Amazon more of on a brand direct side, doing some Amazon to Amazon flips and just keeping that as clean as I can. And then in terms of Walmart, continuing what I'm doing, but looking into more like grocery items and wholesale and just trying different things really.
Yeah, I've
You
talked to
would
some
probably
people that
crush it with
crush with grocery on Walmart. Specific like RA too, like going to their local chain, like not Walmart, their local chain in respect to like, Publix of Florida, for example, right? Grocery out in Pennsylvania, for example, that crush on their low key with like a drop shipping type of model, honestly, like having heavy stuff listed and then going in and picking it up, which is obviously risky if someone, if the store runs out, but that, can rarely happen to like supermarkets, for example. Two, you were saying, Garrett?
this is where I thought you were going, Miles. You would crush it with closing brand exclusive partnerships on the Amazon side of things, just because obviously you have the sales history, but you're just a personal, very fluent conversator. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying?
I greatly appreciate that. And the thing is the difficult part for me is I'm making very good money with my job with little effort, to be honest with you. And the brand direct side does take a little bit more, quote unquote finessing where I can't always make that phone call in my office. I can't always,
Yeah.
so it's not an excuse, but that's definitely the way I want to go. In college, I majored in marketing and finance and I ran Google SEO campaigns. I created like a Snapchat filter company that did okay. So I have a lot of experience, a lot of skills. It's just a matter of where to put it and how to put it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, that's the beauty of life, though. You know what I mean? As well too, and that so you've used reselling to really change your life. I was watching one of your videos this morning. You lost like a shitload of weight too, as well. So break down, how that went, and then if there's any parallels between that and business as like a self improvement vehicle,
He
for
was
example.
destined for business success.
Yeah, so I grew up a popular person. I just grew up on the bigger side of things. My parents, worked extremely hard for me, gave me everything I wanted, but my diet was just not there. And I grew up getting bullied. I grew up not being able to fit on roller coasters, and it was just, it was tough growing up, right? And it came to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stick to this. My mom said she was gonna cook for me. And I lived by a YMCA in Indiana where I went to high school. And every single morning I would run to the YMCA, work out for 30 minutes. After school, go back to the YMCA, work out. And I would just do that every single day, tuned everybody out, put my head down. And when I lost the weight, I helped a lot of kids in my community. I spoke at multiple events, and a lot of people respected me more and, etc. And as I'm getting older in life, I sometimes forget of how much effort and energy that journey was for me, right? It was very difficult, very rewarding. And now walking into work, knowing I have this going on, knowing that I have money coming in from there, knowing I have everything I want, honestly, it just makes me very grateful, but it also makes me realize, the only way this is going to stop is if I stop it. So that's why I appreciate the things like the podcast and people posting content and the community all in all, because it really does motivate everybody. And the biggest thing I want to say is whether you have 5 followers, you have 1 million followers, there's always someone that is going to watch your content and look up to you. And that's just one
So
thing I
true.
kind of wanted to point out.
Yeah,
That was
man, because
beautiful.
once you make your first sale, you're further along than like half the people listening to this right now. And not that that's a problem if you're listening to this right now and haven't made any sales. It's more so to show you that get on that stuff. You know what I mean? Like you're here, 22 minutes into this right here. Like, none of us are getting any younger. Get on this stuff. You know what I mean? It's sitting there waiting for you. People have gotten done, significantly more than you want to get done with less, right? With less time, with less, stuff available right there. You can go make this stuff happen. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. We're very lucky to have these types of opportunities as well. So if you could go back to you, I believe it was 2 years ago you started on Amazon, October of 22, just about. Like, what are you telling yourself that would help you fast track success a lot faster?
Man, the biggest thing I would tell myself was to be more confident with myself. I was always finding myself, I didn't buy enough. Oh, I didn't do this, I did that, right? And the biggest thing is I needed to be more confident in myself. Like I said, I knew what I was doing. Once I hit those 15,000 months consistently, no one ever told me it's a matter of spending more. It's a matter of, finding more product. I didn't really get that. Um, you know what I mean? And the other thing was, I was just the one thing I'll say is I was always patient with the process because it is one of those things where you do have to be patient, and I think that kind of helped me in the long run.
Completely agree, right? No one ever figured out anything life changing super quick, but you got to pay down that ignorance as quick as possible. You know what I mean? Like very, very important as quick as possible. What inspired you to get on social media and start chopping up? Because I've been seeing you, for a while and everything, and that's like, in my personal opinion, that's the number one thing you can do to just guarantee that things will get a lot easier.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know whose podcast it was. Maybe it was Corey Gainham's, maybe it was yours, but someone was like, just start posting. And I used to post in the past, but I wasn't doing as much content as I am now. And I went to ASD this past year and met a ton of amazing people. A lot of people were like, hey, we follow you. You should post more. So I started posting more. People started saying, post more Walmart. I started doing my own coaching, which was great for Walmart. And now it's to the point where, I feel weird when I don't post just because
Good.
so,
Yes,
so many,
exactly. Same
yes,
thing with the
Yeah.
gym. It was the same way with the
yeah,
gym, right? It's the same
yeah.
way with everything for me.
Yeah,
That's
like
beautiful.
so many people say like they get motivated because I do work and some people might say, well, why would someone work and do this? And at the end of the day, it's all what you could handle. It's all how you manage things, and everything comes down to systems, right? That's the biggest thing I've learned in the last 3 months is just building systems and processes.
I mean,
And
going back to the weight loss, you built a system around it, right? You went to the gym, you ran to the gym, you ate right. It didn't require an abundance of skill or anything. It was a system in place, executed over a long period of time. And I would say that that's probably the reason why that you've had the business success. Systems in place. You review the leads from the VAs. You have your team in place. You set them up. You buy them. You send in the products. You know what you need to do. You just have to execute over a long period of time. right? Regardless of what endeavor it is, that's all it comes down to as a very macro perspective.
Yeah, break down the team and the VAs and the setup and everything like that. So we got Walmart Prep Center, right? FBA and FBM for Amazon, you do yourself, right? What is the breakdown of like the people helping you out and everything?
Yeah, so as far as Walmart goes, I have one VA that has been with us since I started, which was, almost 2 years ago. And I trained him everything to do. So he is the person who's going to list all my products for me. So whenever I buy something, whether it's in the store, I just send it to him. He converts it to WFS for me. And if you don't know, converting to WFS is a pain in the butt. It just is
I've
not.
You have
It's
to add in the dimensions, which makes no sense, right?
yeah,
Because if anyone knows, Amazon knows the dimensions of a
Right.
specific item,
yeah, it's
or
not.
Walmart knows. My bad. Yeah.
It's something that I would say if you're on the platform, definitely learn that and delegate it because it is a pain. But he does that for me, and then he also price adjust everything. I don't like to use a repricer personally, so I would rather him go manual because some stuff I like to hold, so I don't want it repriced, right? So that's what he does. I have another one that sources Walmart leads for me. Cranks out a good amount, very good. And then that's Walmart. That's all I have, and then myself. Um, As far as Amazon goes, I have a virtual assistant who handles, the inventory uploading, the sourcing, the spreadsheet for the prep center, all of that stuff. So, and then lastly, I do have a virtual assistant now that helps me edit my content and does all of that. So I have kind of everything, send off, not worry about it, get it back, review it, which has helped me tremendously within this last few months.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. When you're a beginner, you got to wear every hat. You're like, how the heck am I
Hmm.
gonna not only continue to do this but get better at it over time? It's like you're not necessarily the one that's going to be doing that. Now, stuff has to get done, right? But one of our virtual assistants is going to help us post this, for example, too, and everything is like, that's the biggest thing. If you're listening to this, right, and you're thinking, damn, man, I'm gonna go do retail arbitrage for the next 50 years, absolutely not. Now, will you use retail arbitrage to quit your job? I think you should. If that's your goal, for example, I think that's going to be a helpful thing for you, right? But you build leverage, you get better, your hourly output goes up over time. You don't have to have the employee mindset of time equals money, skill equals money, but the more time you put into it, the more skill you're going to acquire as well too. Everything. So I actually don't know this specifically, but do you have like a couple like resellers you really mess with that you guys talk about everything all day?
Yeah, I do have a couple, yes.
Yeah, that's the number one thing. That's the number one thing. If there's one thing that decides your success is who you talk to on a day-to-day basis, right? And if you're listening to this and you don't talk to any Amazon sellers, you don't talk to any Walmart sellers, you're going to have a way harder time competing against the people that do. The good part is you're or not necessarily good part, but you're probably thinking to yourself, crap, I don't have that. It's going to be a lot harder. The good thing is you probably haven't done a single thing to get those people in your life. So of course you haven't gotten them. Luckily, you can choose to do the things that would be reasonable that would get you close to that, right? Which is publicly exist, talk about what you're doing, talk about who you are in places that the people you want to meet hang out, right? Which is not in your local environment, most likely. It's going
Hmm.
to be in digital communities. The cool thing is that's free. Instagram's free, Twitter's free, Discord, our Facebook group, everything costs no money, right? It's sitting there waiting for you to not be afraid of talking about what you're doing and owning this as a part of your identity, right? You phenomenally own this as part of your identity. So do Garrett and I. That's why that energy radiates and people connect and relate. And we just give them a chance to and everything. And that's like, in my opinion, like the number one thing you can do for it. And you have a 9 to 5 too. So many people use that as an excuse. Now I get that as an excuse, right? But there's anonymity. You don't have to show your face. You'll get better results if you show your face, right? And everything too. And just in general too, if people can control what you post on the internet, that shows how much more you need internet money in your life as well too, in my opinion, as well. And as we finish up here, man, where can people follow you on social media so they can follow more of your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. You could follow me on Instagram. It's Salem FBA. And one thing I just wanted to hit on that you said, Miles, is when you're thinking of asking someone a question, when it's something that isn't easily on Google or YouTube, we have no problem, at least I have no problem, responding back. So as long as you
Right.
do research and ask a legitimate question, don't think that we're going to just ignore you and shut you out. Just don't ask something like that is so common, right?
Well,
As far
Googling an important skill too, man. Google and ChatGPT, it's a very, very important skill. As well. And you have Twitter too, right?
Yeah, I do have Twitter. It's Salem C. It's kind of spelled a little funny. It's
You
like
might have
S.
to rebrand that with the ETH and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's from
yeah,
back in the
yeah.
day. Back in the day.
It's Salem dot what is that though?
It's like it's S. I'll have to send it to you,
Oh,
but
he's
it's
not even
Gotcha. Hey, we'll
sure.
get a link in the description, man. It's something along the lines of like Salem.eth. I was looking at it earlier and everything. But dude, appreciate you coming on, man. You got phenomenal stuff going. And everything, if you're listening to this, get on Walmart. Cross-list some inventory to get started. Get started, rocking, enroll in storefront stocking, right? And everything, the same stuff you made work on Amazon, those same principles are going to translate over to Walmart. And 2025 is a great way to do that. And as you're prepping these FBM orders, listening to us today, don't forget to toss up a pic on Twitter and tag all of us right there, right? Get
So
some
it's
people in your life.
Sal3MC for all the people still
Boom.
listening to us.
All right. Makes
And
sense.
if you go to his Twitter, you'll be rewarded with a crazy transformation picture. So
Boom. Sweet.
check him
Yeah.
out.
Appreciate you guys listening and really appreciate you coming on too, Salem. This was awesome, man.
Hey, thank you guys. You have a great day. I'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you.
Absolutely.